Thanks very much for coming. I hope you can hear. I know the acoustics are really bad, so hello, Fiona. I'm going to shout, even though it's not very elegant, in the hope that you can hear me. My name is Lizbeth Goodman. I'm the Chair of Creative Technology Innovation at University College Dublin. And I'm giving a talk today, which is the newest version of a talk I've been giving for 3 years, because the point of this talk is to recruit you all to join us in a movement, which we call Hippocratic Innovation. And I'm going to tell you what that means. When I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of 2 linked research centres. One is called Smart Lab, which stands for Site-Specific Media Arts, using technology for real social innovation. We've been running for 25 years since we founded at the BBC in England. And we run a big practice-based PhD program and a lot of industry-facing and creative industry projects. Also, the Inclusive Design Research Centre of Ireland, which is a north-south collaboration in the area of inclusive design. And by inclusive design, I do have a few slides where I'll explain that, but briefly, so you have some idea what I'm talking about. In previous era, you might have heard of universal design as a primarily engineering term which would describe the design of a product. If you're designing a mobile phone, you design the gadget so that it's for a mainstream group of users who is a large market who will pay lots of money to buy it. And then these, what used to be called extreme user groups. The elderly, people with disabilities, women, maybe kids in hospital who needed specific apps and blocks on the phones, etc. We no longer believe in that ethos, and Hippocratic innovation comes from the very basic idea that there is no mainstream, there is no norm, there is no spectrum. There's an autism condition, which we all have to some degree, and then there's autism spectrum disorder, which needs more serious treatment, and we might speak ever so briefly about Fiona's project, which is very important in that space. But basically, we're all normal or equally diverse, and when we design tools, curriculum, methodologies, or philosophies, we need to be inclusive of everyone from the start. So the definition of inclusive design is a disability equals a person who is not supported or matched by their environment. And it's all of our job to change the environment, technological, social, philosophical, methodological, so that everybody's equally served. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I'm talking about. And before my very overqualified PhD candidate, Chagri, clicks through, because I actually have very poor eyesight, so I might even ruin the talk by not seeing. So Chagri will, in an overqualified way, click through in just a moment. But before he does that, I want to ask you to imagine something with me, if you will. Imagine with me, if you will, just about 4 years ago, just before Christmas, on a snowy winter's eve in Dublin, I had a phone call from a man whose name I cannot share with you, who said, "We are the founders of the TED Talks. We have a private salon where we invite people who, if put together for 48 hours and given a task, might achieve it in a way that no number of seminars, conferences, workshops, and multimedia fora and all that will ever do. Would you come? We will pay your cost to come. You're invited. We understand if you cannot make it." It was 3 days later, and everyone had been invited at short notice so that they could see who would prioritize this as an important task. So I went. First I did some due diligence, made sure they were reputable human beings I was about to fly to California to meet. We went to the Silicon Valley, and we had a retreat, which was a real retreat. Everyone turned off their mobile phones. Everyone focused on being present for 48 entire hours, and there were major industry leads there, and a few of us from academia and the charity sector. But the most important thing was this. It was a design thinking workshop which didn't use traditional tactics. It basically put us at tables and said, you can talk over dinner about who you are. You can read each other's qualifications later. We don't care. You're in the room because you committed to come, and here is your task. And this is still my task. I've made it my lifelong task. They said, to all the other tables in the room, they said, education systems all over the world are broken. Fix them. Go. That was task number 1. No more detail than that. Task number 2 was just from my table, and that was education systems all over the world are broken, and medical data retrieval and security systems and the connected health systems all over the world are broken. Both. And there's a lot of money and time being wasted fixing them both separately when the same tools, methodologies, techniques might come up with one interoperable platform. So, fix it. Go. And so that's my mission. The inclusive design movement, which has grown out of the USA and Canada through many, many colleagues and many thousands of us now in this network, all work on one project which we call Hippocratic Innovation. Across our universities, across our charities, across our industries, large and small, Our aim is figure out how to make universal design a real implementable tool of change for a better world. And we came up with the title Hippocatic. We'll start clicking through slides in a moment for those who feel more comfortable when we change the slide. Sorry about that. It's a long preamble. But we came up with the term Hippocratic innovation on the second evening of the event. We were all going to fly back, and we talked about the medical practitioner's oath, why it is so important that doctors say out loud, I pledge, firstly, to do no harm, i.e., I've learned all these skills as a medical doctor. I will not use them without considering the context, the possible impact on one human, on many humans, one disease, many diseases. So we decided to borrow that for this interoperable, inclusive design approach to fixing the education and health systems, all of us together, in an open source collaborative way. And we take that first do no harm very seriously. So when we talk about do no harm to an individual, to a society's understanding of a disease or a disability by mislabeling or oversimplified labeling, which confuses and can alienate and ghettoize individuals, but also to the climate. Think about reducing wastage, not only of carbon emissions as we all fly around to meet each other, but also of our time and energy, so that we can be present to actually solve these problems. So that's what I mean, and now I've probably only got 6 minutes left to click through some slides, but I do invite you all to join if you're the least bit interested. So, Dr. Chagri. So the principles of inclusive design, very, very briefly, are one size fits one. There's no such thing as one size fits all. It's true for clothing, it's true for black lycra outfits, it's true for wearable technology, it's true for methodologies, it's true for philosophies. It's certainly true for assistive technology tools. There is no one fix for everyone. That's why we need a different model. There have been various ways of wasting a lot of time and energy looking at the kinds of metrics that we are all forced to start with when we give traditional talks. So if I was in a more academic setting or had been given a more specific mandatory brief, I'd have to start by saying X number of people have autism in this country, X number of people have cerebral palsy, X number of people buy the Xbox, if we connect, blah, blah, blah. We'd have to justify everything by statistics. We all have to do it all the time, but that's not the way we really get anything done in the inclusive design movement. So we're looking at data science by design and a whole range of techniques. And I've only got 5 minutes left, so we'll click on at the speed of light. So for many years, for 25 years, we've been developing tools, including some of the first virtual worlds made by people with autism, not just for them, so that we really know how people who don't like to make eye contact use virtual environments first before they join the virtual obesity clinic with Dr. Donal O'Shea and other medical clinics. We also, one of my colleagues, Dr. McDonaghan, designed some of the first eye control technologies in an inclusive design method. So he didn't sell out to any one manufacturer of an eye control system. He said, I'll work with everybody for free. SmartLab will pay me. I'll work with everybody for free so that you all learn how to integrate eye control as a mandatory interface in all of your various products for sale, so that the price point would come down from 14,000 to 0 if you buy a Kinect. And a lot of wearable personalized tech, including wearables for girls in wheelchairs who want to look cool and say where their head switch is going to be if they must have one, etc., etc., etc. So these are our areas: accessibility, aging, which we all are doing at an amazing rate and will be doing for a long time to come, autism spectrum and condition, which we are all on somewhere, physical disabilities due to whatever cause, and also the obesity clinic, which is comorbid with some of those conditions. And our main research areas are virtual worlds, virtual reality, wearable tech, and 3D data materialization. We'll just flip through here. You'll have these slides so we can just keep on going. These are some of the kinds of projects we've done. Funded, BBC or whoever, IBM, Microsoft funded. We did a project with them called Club Tech, which reached 7 million of the poorest kids in America. And it was an open source technology club. And again, everyone gave of their time, and on the Navajo reservations and other disadvantaged areas, people used the technology in any way they needed it, to hack it. They made it their own, and they used it, and then won college scholarships, and then went back and taught the next generation of kids. So it's not about making money for Microsoft or any company, much as we love them and want them to do well, but it's about these communities and everyone in them. And really quickly flipping through, so what's in it for you to partner with us? We run practice-based PhDs. We grant PhDs to industry professionals and professors in universities who didn't need PhDs when they started. They're practice-based. You do them part-time and by remote using our virtual world technology, and you bring that expertise back into your industry or your community or your charity, and you're then able to PI your own grants in future. That's our expertise. We've got 35 graduates in that field, as well as 3 contemporaries. And I wanted to flip through, if we go just through quickly, this is the assisted program. Dr. Shiona Gorman is here. I'm going to point to her. Shiona is project manager for what I would say is, I personally think, Europe's most important project in inclusive design. It's a co-fund project funding 40 full-time research fellows to work in the area of assistive technology for intellectual disability autism. Shiona project manages, so she can tell you, and there's a call open until June. And it's an amazing opportunity. Maura Goodman flew in to announce that Ireland would now be one of the research centres of Europe, and I think of the world, in this important area. And of course, all the technology tools we're developing through that programme, through all of the universities, north and south, signed up to one programme. All those tools are equally valid for the aging community, for people with dementia, and for all kinds of other applications. So that's the inclusive design model. Talk to Shiona or myself if you're interested in assisted. Talk to me about PhDs or partnering on Hippocratic innovation. Thank you.